Converse paid me to make a commercial in my 165 square foot bedroom. This is how I made it. 3 months ago, I got a DM from the official Converse account saying they wanted to work with me. After some back and forth emails, I pitched in my video treatment, they liked it, and I signed onto the deal in November.
It's a miracle!
So here was the plan. Shoot the video on New Year's Eve, edit from January 1st to 3rd, and deliver the final cut on the 4th. So 3 days to edit one of the biggest projects of my little Chifftie career. So New Year's Eve came, and I had some friends over to be in the video. Everything is going great, people are vibing, and I'm starting to have a good time. A little too good of a time. I was in bed, hungover all day on the 1st. Absolutely no editing got done during the day. So I stand corrected. Now it's 2.5 days to edit one of the biggest projects of my little Chifftie career. I began by selecting a song, which luckily I'd been working on. Once I chose my music, I imported it into my timeline and trimmed it to create a rough idea how my video would start and end.
Alright, I just finished transferring all the footage. I had to get off this camera. This one had the best, by far the best footage.
I imported it into Premiere and resized it to fit my chosen, albeit unusual, aspect ratio.
Hey yo, what the fuck?
With 2 more hours before I had to go to work, I decided to work on the very beginning of the video, where the mixed media animation part would start. This is where things took a turn for the worst. In my original pitch for the intro, the video starts with a shot of an empty table. Suddenly, a Converse box slides onto the screen. The camera cuts to an overhead shot of the box, which is now open, revealing a pair of Converse inside. The shoe would then begin to float towards the screen, rotating 180 degrees in a mixed media animation style. Now this sounded super dope, and I was really excited to execute it. Also, yes, I'm in a hotel room. The only reason why I even chose to use this shot is because there's like a super sick view. Hold on. What the hell? That's crazy. That's crazy. I'm not too familiar with 3D software, so when pitching this idea, I plan to do it practically, which is fine. A sequence like that is definitely doable practically. But here's where I screwed up: planning. It's embarrassing to admit, but I put absolutely no planning into how I was gonna shoot this sequence. No lights, no tripods, not even a fucking storyboard, nothing really. I think the reason I didn't plan for this shot was because the first time I did a sequence like this was for my Paris Fashion Week video, which I shot all in one take. I didn't use any lights or fancy gear, just my camera and natural lighting. So I thought I'd be able to do the same thing. Lightning does not strike twice.
What?
I spent the rest of the day desperately trying to get this intro to work, but it kept looking like, well,
Fuck out of here, boy.
and this all came down to my lack of planning. You can only do so much to make a shot look good in post. So now it was Tuesday night, I didn't have even a quarter of the video done, and it was due to Converse by Thursday morning. I remember feeling defeated because I knew that on Wednesday, I wouldn't be able to work on the video as much because I had my actual job. So exhausted and kind of defeated, I fell asleep on my couch at around 8 o'clock. I woke up a few hours later at 11 and decided to go to bed and try again in the morning. But as I tried to fall back asleep, all I could think about was the Converse intro. And then, I had an idea. Lock in. I completely ditched the practical method. I suck at 3D, so I bought this 3D model off 3dmodels.org. I probably could have learned to model it myself, but in the time frame I was working with, that just didn't seem possible. Initially, I thought I was gonna have to bite the bullet and actually learn Blender. I mean, this view is just incredible. However, after some panic Googling, I discovered that in the new After Effects beta, you can import 3D models directly into After Effects without using Cinema 4D. Thanks, Adobe. I brought the shoe model into the beta and then animated it using keyframes. I kept it really simple because I knew the mixed media animation part would do the heavy lifting. Once I got the animation to a point where I was happy with it, I imported the After Effects sequence into Premiere so I could synchronize the timing of the shoe with the music. Since I was working in a beta program, my imported sequence kept breaking every time I'd press play, so that was nice. Now that I had a proof of concept, I felt confident enough to reshoot the physical part of the intro. At the time of making this, I didn't own any studio lights. I do now though. But since I didn't have lights to shoot this intro, I had 2 options. Wait until the morning and utilize natural light, or attempt to use every practical light I had in my bedroom to create enough light to light the scene. I knew that waiting until the sun came up would leave me with only a couple hours before I had to leave for work. So I opted to make the best out of what I had. Is this lighting okay? I figured the best way to make the Converse box the main focal point of the shot and to light it at the same time would be to wrap Christmas lights around it, almost like a helipad. I had this mini Christmas tree set up in my room, so I took it down and removed the Christmas lights from it. I really liked the text to real life transition for my Paris Fashion Week intro, so I wanted to replicate that camera pullout in this video.
So the idea for the shot is basically starts here, bop, comes out, down, up shot, and then the shoes either slide in or they're opened, and then these pop out.
So for the next hour, I began to set up my scene. Now everything was going great, but I soon realized that moving my camera while keeping the motion still and then opening the box at the same time would be very difficult. So I enlisted the help of my girlfriend to flip the box open for me.
Sergeant,
Reporting for duty.
I'm going on duty. 2:20 in the morning.
After some final touches to the set and some practice shots, I was finally able to start shooting. After some trial and error, we finally got one good shot.
And I'm going out, down, looking at it. Go for it.
Now, this might not look very good to you, but that's what editing's for. First, I sped up the footage by 300% and then changed the frame interpolation to frame blending. That way, when the video was sped up, it would have motion blur to give the illusion that the camera is being pulled out fast. Once my footage was sped up, I cut it to make the camera pan to the box flip in one fluid motion. After this, it was time to merge the 3D model with the practical shot I just made. I started by going to the frame I wanted the animation to begin at, and I took a screenshot. Then I brought the frame into Photoshop and used the generative AI filter to remove the real shoot. I imported my plate into Premiere and adjusted its length to match the animation. After that, I added some effects and overlays. I added this explosion animation I got of Envato to add some visual stimulus. I also included an exposure adjustment layer that I keyframed to increase the exposure right when the explosion animation reached its apex. Then I applied a camera shake effect to help blend the practical shot with the 3D model. I added some text, a Converse logo, a slight push adjustment layer, and my signature Chifftie logo intro. After working all night, at 7 a.m., I finally went to sleep. The next morning, I began working on the mixed media animation section. I wanted the animation to look different from real life by adding a bunch of textures and experimenting with different colors. I've been using this old software called Corel Painter's Essential since I was like 16. I played around with the settings to experiment with different photo painting results, and I really liked this Van Gogh effect. I went back into Premiere and exported the frames as PNGs for the animation. Then I brought my frames into Corel and scanned them one by one, all 45 of them. This program isn't meant for doing bulk animation. This program isn't meant to do bulk images like this, so you have to apply the effect to each photo by hand, then wait about 2 minutes for the image to render. I kept plugging away, and after about 3 hours, I finally finished putting all the frames through the program. I began printing out all my images to draw over for the actual animation part.
We're printing! Woo! Woo! Woo!
It took a while to print, but to my amazement, my little printer pulled through, and I had all my frames. I went to work and got home at 10 p.m. I got Angel a donut as payment for her work from the day before, and I got back to cooking. This video was due the next morning, and I still had so much work to do. I began by drawing over each frame with markers and colored pencils to give the frames texture for when I rescan them. After buying Angel another donut, she agreed to help me work on some other frames, which helped me work a lot faster. Once all the frames were done, I began scanning them, and then bringing each scan into Photoshop to cut out the frames, and then lining them up to match when I put in Premiere. This part was really tedious, but at this point, it was coming down to crunch time, so I really had to kick it into gear. I was so tired this morning. But in times like this, you just have to lock in. I finally called the intro done and moved on to the body of the video. I honestly wish I could remember more details about my process here. I was just too deep into a flow state. Nothing could break my focus, time slowed down, and I just edited. And sometimes that's the best part about creating something, is just getting lost and creating something that you love. It's a little gay, but it's true. Finally, with 20 minutes to spare, I hit export and I sent the video to Converse. The main two notes from the Converse video was that it was too long and they didn't want the word commercial at the very beginning. When editing to a song, going back and cutting down the duration of the video becomes challenging. It's hard, but not impossible, just more annoying than anything. They wanted the runtime to be about 40 seconds, so I had to find a way to cut out 20 seconds of the video. I started by chopping the final song down to one measure. Then I significantly cut down the end of the party montage and also sped up the countdown by jump cutting the audio. I then made some more cuts around the end to speed it up. Then I rearranged the end footage to fit into the new timing of the video and inserted some shots that were absolutely necessary that they asked for, finally taking commercial out at the beginning. This part actually took some time. I still wanted to show something on the screen right when the video started, so I settled on replacing the text with the Converse logo. I downloaded a picture of the logo off Google and then exported the beginning frames where the screen was visible. I brought the frames into Photoshop to remove the original text. Then I matched the Converse logo to where it would roughly been on the screen. Then I brought the frames into After Effects and used this effect called Force Motion Blur to give back that motion blur from the original cut. After messing with the video for a little bit more and adding some final touches, I sent it to Converse, and they approved it. My first ever big brand deal was finally done. And this was the final piece that came out.
I'm such a weirdo. Tattoos from my taste to my earlobes. Was a role model, I never had a hero. I learned how to live through the stereo. Coming from the home, that ain't a fear, yo. Everything you see ain't what it appears, though. Everything that I built, made that from zero, then added a zero. I am my hero. You couldn't imagine what it's like in my mind. It's beauty and catastrophe at the same time. Remember they laughed at me when it was game time. Now I know that they mad at me. I'm when you can't find me.
I think it's super awesome, and I'm genuinely so proud of it. This project definitely tested my determination, and I learned so much when it comes to time management. Also, I don't even have to tell you guys. The view's going fucking crazy. Thank you so much to Angel for helping me, and thank you so much to all you amazing people that support me to help me even get on the radar of these brands so that I can do these awesome things. It really means a lot. If you enjoyed this video, leaving a like is the best way to support this channel. I know it's annoying to have to hear YouTubers say that all the time, but it's true. Your like goes a long way in the algorithm. And at the end of the day, the algorithm is what determines whether I get to do this as a full-time job one day. To the subscribers of this channel, sorry for taking some time off. I had to get my mind right before I put energy into my passion. I know this is a little different from other videos I've done in the past, so I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comments. This is probably the way I'll be moving the channel in the future.